All right. Welcome to the third ever Wall Street Stonks Podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, man. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing well, of course, of course. So, a lot of people here might not know who you are. If you want to just give us a quick introduction, who you are, what you do.
Yeah, name is Rodrigo Hercules. I'm 25, live in Texas. My two passions or the two things I'm like super into are credit and stocks. I have a credit business on the side and I also trade stocks. So those are like my two things.
That is very cool. There are not a lot of people who are passionate about credit cards. you actually you actually hear the opposite a lot of times. I remember growing up, you would always hear, "Oh, credit cards are bad. Be careful of credit cards. Don't get into credit card debt. They're very dangerous." And some people might actually hear the same thing about stocks, where people might get burned with stocks and they might think like, "Oh, I don't, why would I put my money there? It's just going to go down. Like it's a heavily manipulated market." So there are a lot of people who are scared of these things. What made you passionate about these things? Why aren't you scared?
So with the stock market, that actually started back in high school. Someone had slightly introduced the idea of the stock market, and I just found it interesting, that your money makes money for you. But I didn't take it too serious until back in 20. It was actually the reason I got into stocks mainly was actually the 2017, 2018 crypto run. I had bought some Ethereum like in November, December, and I literally made enough to pay off my tuition in like a month, in a span of
Wow.
a month. It wasn't big money; it was just a few thousand bucks. But I was just like, I just made a few. I just covered my entire tuition by trading something, and I made this money so quickly. In that winter break, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad, life changing book. And after I read that, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go back to school next semester. I'm gonna dedicate myself to learning this stuff. So that's what the stock market and with credit cards. I don't know. I've always, growing up, I always saw those, like, hey, you can get points and miles and travel for free on the commercials, and I was like, is that legit? And when I got into credit, I started just watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh, there's a whole nother world to this that people don't really talk about. You just hear the bad things about credit. You don't hear
hmm
about like credit isn't a sexy topic. Nobody likes to talk about. It's pretty boring, right? But there is a lot of cool things about it that not like I said, it's not really out there.
Yeah, definitely. That's an awesome Ethereum story. Do you still have any from back then?
No. I sold that. I sold
Oh
all that
man.
Ethereum. I occasionally log into my Coinbase account to see because I think it was on Coinbase and I think I traded on it was on Binance as well. But
Yeah.
this was Binance, not the US, like the Binance before
hmm
Binance US. But yeah, no, I don't have any Ethereum from that time. I sold it all. I was just so happy at the time. I sold it before the crash, so luckily that happened. But I did have a few other coins that went down at the time.
No, that's great. I remember when all of that hype was happening with Bitcoin and stuff. Me and a bunch of my friends got into it. I've always been in the stock market ever since I was a kid, but the crypto world was new to me. And I remember when I don't even remember, like 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, I went to my dad and I'm like, "Hey dad, there's this new thing. It's called like Bitcoin. It's digital currency." And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what the hell that is." And we never invested into it until I got a little bit older and I had my own money. And then I would trade crypto and I would buy like 10 Bitcoin and then sell it and then and then buy it again and then sell it. And then if you look at the profit and loss like history, I probably made like a couple $100, my best case like $1,000. But
Mhm.
if I just held it, that would have been crazy. So I always love hearing about when people had these assets like a long time ago and then what it would have been if you just held it. It's
Mhm.
it's just so funny to hear those stories because I don't know if you've seen a lot of my TikToks really focus on long-term investing. And I pride myself on being that guy on TikTok that's battling against the toxic stock talk where you
Yeah,
hear,
I feel
yeah,
you.
man, I know you feel
Appreciate
me.
that.
Yeah, it's all these crazy people who are just over promising the world, pumping stocks, pumping just garbage altcoins. And I saw that and I'm like, I need to be involved and I need to clean that, because that's not what I learned growing up. And I'd like to give people that opportunity to hear a different side of investing that they might not be hearing if they're just scrolling through the toxic stock talk that I call just garbage. But that idea of buying assets that you know, love, understand, see used around you every day, and just holding it for a long period of time, it just proves that works. Like that Ethereum, like you liked it back then. That history just proves that if you just held that, well, obviously you had a situation, you paid off your tuition. That's great. There's other uses for selling and trading, but it just shows that if you just buy, hold, it just grows over time. Which actually,
I believe there was no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I was going to lead to my next question, where do you have like a long-term stock portfolio, or like what do you do with stocks?
So I'm actually more of a swing trader. My long-term portfolio is very small. Mm-hmm. I'm more of a like get into value stocks or growth stocks. No, not really growth, more like value stocks, actually a little bit of growth stocks. And I like to just capture 80, 100% moves, but these are swing positions. These aren't day trades. I'm not hoping that this isn't like 1 week trades. These are probably several weeks, several months. And I like to just get in and get out of those, just hold some positions, let them ride out, take that money, reinvest into something else that has potential to, make another 50 to 100%. You just got to be patient on some of these plays. Some of them take, 6 months. Some of them take 3 months. Some of them could take 8 months. Yeah. So I do a little bit of like long-term swing trading. I do a little bit of short-term swing trading, like Mara, Riot, a lot of these hype stocks that were, recently hyped, Palantir, all, like the things that are actually moving. But majority of what I make would be from a combination of both short-term swinging and long-term swinging. I also do day trading as well, like short-term day trading. And that's something I'm still trying to get good at. I'm profitable with it, but majority of my gains are always going to be with swing trading.
Absolutely. I always say there's a place and time for everything. There are those people who buy and hold forever. There are people who do swing trading, whether it's a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years. And then there are those who just day trade all the time. All of which can be profitable. It just depends on A, what you're investing in, and B, how you're executing it. And a lot of people, they just get too emotional with it. I know that's a big problem with day trading, even swing trading, honestly, where you see a gain happen overnight and you want to exit that position, but then you think it might still continue to go up and you question yourself and you don't know what to do, and you start overthinking yourself. You don't have a plan. You don't know when to exit. And that is probably the death of any trader, is just moving too much, thinking too much, and just being too emotional with it. But yeah, the reason why I asked if you had a long term is I have, I think, 3 or 4 accounts, different stock accounts. And I've talked about this in some of my other videos, but I allocate each one of those accounts to be what they are, what strategies they are. So I have my long-term stock portfolio. I use TD Ameritrade, and that portfolio sits there and I add money to it every month. I get paid, and then that like 10%, 20% of it goes into there. I buy stocks that I know, love, use, understand, see used around me. Nothing crazy. I can pull it up right here. It's just all the normal stocks. Like we got Snapchat in there. We got Spotify, DraftKings, Coca-Cola, Airbnb. Like you get the point. Like Roblox, Apple, Uber, Rocket Mortgage. These are all companies that you just know, you've heard of. I buy those because I know I'm going to have an Ethereum-like story 10 years from now, where I look back and I say, dude, I was trading Uber when it was like $50 and now it's $5,000, like 10 years from now. So I have that account. And then I also have my swing trading account where I do options and options and shares sometimes. So I have that separate account. It's separate from the long term. I swing trade stuff, and sometimes what I do is I take the profits from there and then I put it into the long term. So it just supplements that income.
Right.
And then I have another account where I do day trading stuff. Sometimes day trading will happen in the swing trading one, because something goes up a crazy amount, you got to flip out of
Take
that.
some profits.
Yeah, take some profits. But yeah, that's my overall strategy. I really advocate for that long term, because I don't want to say that in 10 years where I was buying this at this price and now it's this price. I just feel like it's going to burn me. So I just buy and hold and forget about it.
Yeah, I was actually last year I was buying big lots. I think it was it in the $8? And I look at big lots now, but it's like it's $40 right now. At the time, it was a swing trade. I think I made about like 50 to 80% on that position. But looking back at it now, obviously could have always made more.
Yeah.
It's funny because I saw an interview with a trader. I don't remember his exact name, but he talked about a study that I think Charles Schwab did, where they looked at the most profitable accounts out of all the accounts they had from their customers, and the most profitable ones were traders who were no longer alive, people who were dead, pretty much. So those are the accounts, people that just held and never sold. They just held those positions, and goes to show that long-term holding is obviously the best way to go.
Yeah, it's been proven time after time. And I always like to ask people what their strategies are, and then I like to plant that seed, because now after this podcast, you're gonna be like, oh, I should really just bump up this long term, just hold. And then 10 years from now, you're gonna call me and be like, bro, hell yeah, like good thing I did that.
With me, I actually have like 5 brokers. I have one for shorting, I have one for swing trading, I have one for day trading, and I do have one where I have my longer hold swings. So I do have those accounts. So it kind of helps me like focus. I don't like to mix accounts. I think it's a lot of people do that. I think one of the best things you can do is have multiple accounts and dedicate each account to something else. That way you don't confuse those profits or the statistics on your trading, whatever type of trading you do.
Yeah, for sure. No, I totally agree with that. Awesome, man. Credit cards. I have questions for you.
Shoot.
My wife and I love to travel. And obviously, whenever you talk about travel, credit cards come up. I'm not the smartest when it comes to credit card points. I know my way around. I know how to read the different promos and the different points and stuff. But someone who's been in the industry and like you understand it, you've read way more than I have. What's the best way to A, get educated on it, and B, find the right cards? Because I spend money and I want to capture those points. I have a few cards that give me cash back. I have a few cards that accumulate these points, but I feel like I'm not doing it right. So I'm just curious, like, what you think are the best starter places to either learn or starter cards to get into.
So the best starter cards for traveling, strictly traveling.
Yeah, we can start there.
So for traveling, the best, so top of the two best people, American Express, Chase. They're always going to be like the top dogs, right? They're always going to be the best benefits, literally almost the best at everything. Then you have Capital One and Citi. They also have some decent cards here and there. But as far as like the best travel cards, like I said, it's going to be like your American Express Platinum, your Sapphire, Sapphire Reserve, Sapphire Preferred. Just because those cards give you so many, benefits from just having them, right? And yeah, they come with annual fees. You're paying like $400 to $500 a year to own them, but those annual fees kind of pay for themselves. For example, I have the Platinum, and I think what was it? Yeah, you just get so many credits with that credit card. You get like Uber credits that you can use towards Uber Eats. I literally get Uber Eats free every month, like $20 worth every month. Yesterday, I bought something from Saks Fifth. I don't even shop at Saks Fifth, but you get a $50 credit every 6 months. So it's like the credits that you get add up with whatever the annual fee is. So it's worth it, in my opinion. But yeah, no, as for the best travel cards, Chase and American Express are going to be the way to go. As far as learning them, as far as learning how to use them, for me, it was a lot of YouTube. I still watch a YouTuber named Ask Sebi. Not sure if you're familiar with him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's big on the credit card game. I learned a lot from him. I did a lot of YouTubing, Googling, Reddit, I'm going on a lot of Reddit threads and just read about like credit card stuff pretty much.
Yeah, so just getting familiar with all the different cards because there's so many cards out there. And
Yeah, there's a lot. The best thing to do, honestly, is to pick a system, right? So, if you have more than 5 credit cards in the past 2 years, you cannot get a Chase credit card because they have a rule called 5 and 24. So there's people who you can have literally a perfect credit score, nothing, literally a perfect credit score, nothing bad on there. And if you apply for one of their credit cards, but you have more than 5 accounts in 24 months, they're not going to approve you, right? So at that point, Chase is out of the question. You got to go with someone like American Express. So you pick a bank, right? You pick a system, and then you just start building out your cards within that system. So for me, I picked Chase when I first got started. I picked Chase. So the first card I got was a Capital One, but the second card I got was a Chase Freedom, I believe, Freedom Unlimited. And then from there, I started getting another Chase card, just because within each system, you can kind of combine points. If you use all the cards, you can combine the points. And those points can be worth a lot more when you move them from one card, put them into another, all in the same system, obviously. But the best thing to do is just pick one system and kind of build it out, right? And once you've kind of used it all up, then you can move to another system. So like I said, I had Chase cards. I got Chase business cards at the time. I didn't even have a business at the time. I just wanted to get I think the 3 ink cards, the ink cash, the ink unlimited, those give you like 50,000 miles each. The ink preferred, that gives you 80,000 miles. So I got about 180,000 mile points just from three business credit cards. I didn't even have a business. I just pretended like I did. And then I put all those points into another card, the Sapphire Reserve. That card alone gives you a 50% bonus on your points. So take those 180,000, they're worth actually a lot more. Plus the points that I make from having the Sapphire Reserve, you see how I'm just kind of getting a little bit of everything and just putting it all in the same bucket, just with points. And that's one of the best ways to go, just picking a system and maxing it out pretty much.
That's genius. How many credit cards do you have?
So I currently have 16, but I'm in the process of probably going to get 10 more in the next few weeks here, just because I'm trying to do some stuff.
That's hilarious. That's a lot. That's a lot of credit cards. How do you manage all of that, or do you just not use a lot of them?
So I use them at least one time every 6 months. I have a calendar reminder just telling me, hey, use your card at least once every 6 months. One of the best ways to do that is actually to buy yourself a $5 Amazon gift card through Amazon. You can use your credit card to buy yourself an Amazon gift card. That way you're not spending $5 on something random. You're actually putting it towards a balance that you can use later on. So that's one good way to use your cards, because banks usually shut you down if you don't use your card after about 6 months. 6 to 12 months, but I like to keep it at 6 months just to keep it safe, because I have so many cards. I've actually gotten shut down in the past for not using a card. But yeah, I track it through Excel, through reminders, and I have an app called Max Rewards, I think, where I can see literally every single card I have, every purchase that goes through, all that stuff.
Nice. That's smart. Yeah, I look at your TikToks and you just have a stack of cards. You're like, I'm reviewing my cards so you don't have to. And it's there's so many. I'm like, dude, how did he get that many? Because I know you can't. Isn't it bad if you apply for 5 cards at the same time?
So it is, but there's a way, there's a trick, not a trick. There's a strategy that you can use where you can apply for multiple cards and kind of fly under the radar, not make it too obvious. For example, some banks, I'll give you American Express, for example. They don't care about inquiries, right? If you've gotten 3 cards in the past 6 months, they don't care about that. They'll approve you as long as you have good credit, your credit structure. If your profile is structured right, they'll approve you, right? Banks like Citi, is it Citi? Yeah, banks like Citi, they're very inquiry sensitive. So if you have more than 2 or 3 inquiries in the past 6 months, they're going to decline you for a card. So you can apply for multiple cards just by knowing the bank's rules. Every single bank has a rule, literally every single bank. You know how I told you Chase has the 524, American Express has a rule where you can only get one credit card every 90 days, but you can get unlimited charge cards. Charge cards are like the platinum, the green, the gold, a black card. You can get a black card. So just by knowing the rules, you can kind of sequence that credit card application process so where you can get approved. Obviously, you're not going to get all the approvals. You're going to get some declines in there, but you can maximize the amount of cards that you get in literally just one day.
Got it. So it's bank centric instead of like holistic credit score based.
I mean, you need to have good credit in order to get,
course,
to get approved for all that stuff, but you do need to have a sequence set up to where it's like, hey, if American Express doesn't really care that you have a lot of cards, I'm going to put them towards the bottom of my application. Mm-hmm. And if I know Citi cares about that kind of stuff, I'm going to put them towards the top. If I know Chase is going to be checking, you might have a lot of accounts recently, I'm going to put them towards the top. Banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they don't really care. So I'll put them more towards the bottom, just kind of spacing them out in a way where, you kind of get around those rules.
Yeah, I need to either hit you up after this or
let me know.
or I need to do a lot of research on each bank's rules because I'm super curious how to strategically open up more cards. I believe three. I have three credit cards. One is American Express. The other one is the Wells Fargo one that I got when I first got a credit card. And then the other one is a Citi, the double cash, the blue.
That's a solid one, actually.
Yeah, the blue and green one.
Yeah, it's a good card.
So I opened those, and then I've just always had those. I've never really cared to open up other ones. They'll occasionally boost the credit limit, but yeah, I've never had a need to get more. And I'm curious, do I need more?
So here's the thing, right? To get a perfect score, like an 850, that's a perfect score. Well, technically you can get a 900 score, but that's completely different. Mm-hmm. To get an 850 credit score, you need at least 21 accounts reporting on your credit report.
Okay.
So that could be credit cards, mortgages, loans, car loans, personal loans. Obviously, you would want to have more credit cards than loans, right? But it's good to have a mixture of a little bit of everything. So in order to have a perfect 850, you need to have at least 21 accounts. So technically, the more accounts you have, the better it is for your score. It does actually help you in the long run. Even though having an 850 is the exact, if you have a 780 credit score and you have an 850, you're going to get approved for the exact same rate. Just because you have an 850 doesn't mean you're going to get the best rate ever. Literally 780 is like having an 850. Once you get above 780, it's kind of just bragging at that point.
Yeah. How do you get 900? Now I'm curious.
900, I believe this I don't remember exactly. It's just something I heard, but it's in the back of my mind. I've been meaning to look into it. I think it has to do with, it has something to do with a FICO system. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest.
I should look into that.
But there is a way to get 900. I think this, because when it comes to scores, we have a bunch of scores. We have FICO 2 from FICO 1 to 10. And within each FICO, we have a lot of scores.
Yeah.
So if you're applying for a card, they're usually looking at FICO. No, if you're applying for a card, they're usually checking something like FICO 8, which is what you can check on Experian.com. Mm-hmm. If you're applying for a mortgage, I believe they check your FICO 2 or something like that. We have so many scores. So there's somewhere in there's an opportunity to get 900.
Interesting.
It's not like a big.
It means nothing, but I'm just very competitive, and I feel like if I have a 900 score, that'll just be really.
Oh, I would want the 900. Yeah, just to say, hey, I have a 900 score. You have what? A 900?
Yeah, that'll make for.
It doesn't even exist.
But yeah, no, I definitely got to do more research. I only have 3 cards. My wife and I love to travel, so I'm definitely interested in looking at what cards can maximize the travel points, because I just love to be able to apply points towards.
Does she have cards? Does your wife have cards too?
Yeah, she does. Yeah,
because there's something called let's say you go with Chase, right? I like Chase. Chase is one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. There's something called God, I lost the word here. You can basically, she can get some cards, you can get some cards within Chase, and you guys can literally combine points together. It's called the second player. That's what it's called, having a second player. So if you guys were to do that, if you were to get some cards, she were to get some cards, I mean, you guys can go in places like literally for free all the time.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on like what are some red flags on some of those bonus things? So I'm gonna be doing a lot of research and I'm gonna want to open up new cards. And when you're opening up these new cards, they always say like spend $5,000, get 10,000 points or whatever the within the first 3 months type of promo things to get you to want to sign up. What are some red flags or like what should I look out for?
There's really no red flags. They give you what they tell you they're going to give you as long as you hit it within that time period. I mean, the best thing to do is just, avoid, maybe make sure you hit that bonus before the 90 days is over, before the 6 months, whatever it is. And obviously you probably already know this, but, pay your cards in full every month. That way you don't have to pay any interest on them. But other than that, red flags, there's really none.
None? Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
There's no like hidden fee.
I'm like, what's the catch? Like why?
There's that's the thing. I used to think there was a catch too, but once you get into it, it's like, no, there's no catch. It's just, you just get them, use them. Obviously, if it has an annual fee, they're going to hit you with that annual fee within like the first 30 to 60 days that you get the card. But no, there's nothing, nothing sketchy.
Cool. Yeah. So I definitely want to look into that. And then I saw you made a video and it was about a card and it was probably a Chase card about that. It was like triple or double advertising points. So I run a marketing consulting company and so I do that on the side. And the marketing consulting company oftentimes will run Facebook ads or pay for things that are marketing related with a credit card. Now, if I were to use that credit card, they would then double or triple those points. Do you remember what card I'm talking about?
Yeah, so there's two I can think of off the top of my head. One would be the Chase Ink Preferred. I believe that one gives you 3x back on ad spend, any ad spend. So if you spend $10,000 on Facebook ads in a month, you're going to get 30,000 points off of that. And I think the other card that does it is the American Express Gold Business Card. That one gives you like 4x back on ad spend. And if you do a lot of ad spend, like if you're doing like over 20 to 30,000 a month, there is a cap. Like they only give you 3x back up to like 100,000 spent on ad spend. But there's a way around that. There's a way around a lot of these things. You just have to like get an employee card. You can literally say your girlfriend or your wife, is an employee. And that employee card technically has access to another 100,000 in ad spend at 3x back. If you're doing, a lot of ad spend. But yeah, those cards actually give you a lot of people who run companies, e-commerce, and they run ads and stuff like that, or they buy inventory and they put all their spend on those cards. They get a lot of points just from ad spend and from inventory and drop shipping and all that stuff.
Yeah, one of the first like, hey, you should look into this type of moments I had with points was actually when I first was dabbling in drop shipping like 5 years ago, where I discovered like AliExpress and I discovered like how to set up a Shopify store. I just learned all that stuff that you've probably seen tons of videos and stuff about. But so I set everything up and I started doing Facebook ads and I was using my credit card. I was like, okay, that's cool. So this is a business expense I'm spending. And then I started to get traffic on my site. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then people started to buy stuff. And when they buy stuff on the site, it triggers the AliExpress to buy it and then ship it directly to them. That's drop shipping. So they would buy it. It would pay my account, but then the AliExpress would charge my card and I would make a profit on the difference. But what I thought was interesting is that I'm getting charged on the card and I'm getting cash. So I just get cash, charge the card, pay the card, and then there's profit left over. And if I just keep doing that, I need to make sure I'm using the best card to maximize the points that I'm getting, that I'm spending on AliExpress. So for a system like that, is there any card that you might suggest?
Chasing Unlimited, because that gives you like 1.5x back on all purchases. So it doesn't even have to be ad purchases. It could be like any purchase. You get 1.5x back. So, and that's, I think there's no cap to how much you can get on that. So if your AliExpress is hitting you with 50K a month on that card, you're getting it's like 75,000 points a month on that one card alone. So that's one of them. If you want to go to the American Express side, probably something like the Plum card, American Express Plum card. I think the gold gives you 4x back on certain categories, and I think online spend might be one of them. Don't quote me on that one.
Yeah.
But definitely the ones that give you like 1 to 2% back on like any purchases would be what you would want to use to like on non-ad purchases, right? Just to get that 1.5 to 2x back on that stuff.
Yeah.
But for the ad spend, you do want to use something like the Ink Preferred or like the Gold business card, just because you're going to be getting a lot more from those.
Yeah. I have a YouTube idea where I wanted to just record myself trying drop shipping again, because I haven't done it in like 4 years probably. And I wanted to like go over the whole process and all the way down to like the finances of it all. And I feel like I should have the right credit card for something like that. So you're giving me a lot of homework to do. This is
yeah. If you have questions, you just hit me up. I'll just I'll definitely I can help you out with that stuff. Because back in 2019, I don't know if this is on Instagram. I don't think I was on TikTok at the time, but Shopify automation stores were like the thing at the time, where people were charging you 10 to 20K and they'll set up automated stores for you. Honestly, that business model, I didn't see a lot of people being profitable with it, just because Shopify would shut down accounts because you're shipping things from China and whatnot. But a lot of people who I knew that were doing that stuff, they were making about $500 to $1,000 just in credit card points alone. This doesn't even include their profits from whatever they're selling. This is just from credit card points alone. From running ads, from inventory spend, all that stuff, just from using the right cards.
It's genius. I need to do that. I was going to say this is a very unique podcast episode because I'm just firing off questions and I'm taking notes, and I'm just going to go do a lot of homework. So
yeah, just let me know, man. Just let me know. I'm always looking into this stuff. I'm literally like looking to credit. It's called Credit Blog. I look at credit blogs like every day just to see what's going on, because there's always something new popping up.
That's awesome. If somebody's listening to this podcast right now on the topic of credit cards, what is one thing you want everyone to just be very clear and just understand completely?
Pay on time and pay in full. That's like the number one thing I probably say the most. Because there's literally people on TikTok who are like in their 30s and 40s who don't understand that if you simply pay off your cards in full every single month, you do not pay interest. And if you don't pay interest, you're not paying the banks anything. Yes, if you have an annual fee, you pay them that annual fee. But once you have annual fee cards, you kind of know what you're doing. But that's like the number one thing that I hope goes through people's minds. Pay on time, pay in full. And you never have to worry about, and only use money that you can afford to pay back. That's the other thing. Treat your credit card as it's a debit card. So if you only have $100 in your bank account, don't spend $1,000 on your card, right? Unless it's like an emergency or you really, really need to do something. But typically you want to use your credit card like if it was a debit card. Don't overspend. Don't use more money than you can pay back.
Yes.
Yes, right.
That is the most
I say that, but people will still not do that.
It's honestly human nature, and it takes a special kind of discipline, and that's why you hear that credit cards are so bad and credit cards are dangerous, because it's a loaded gun. Now, a gun could be used for defense, a gun can be used for offense, but at the end of the day, it's a tool that can be used for something. And you can use it responsibly or you could use it irresponsibly. So if you have a credit card, that is a loaded gun. You have $50,000 available to you if that's what your credit limit is. Or if some people are just starting out, it's that $1,200 credit. And you open up your account and you see 0/50,000. That means I can spend $50,000 right now. And maybe your savings account or your checking account is only $2,000, $1,000. And you look at that difference and you say, I have so much power. And if you get that much power really fast, then you're going to blow through that. I remember when I first got my credit card, I was like, I think 18. Is that the earliest you can get a credit card? Yeah.
18, yeah, that's when you can
Yeah,
get.
okay.
No,
Yeah, so I
sorry,
was
21, right? Wait, 18, 18, 18, 18.
18, yeah. So I was 18 and I opened up the credit card and I got approved. It was Wells Fargo, and I don't know why. I don't know if I had credit, or I don't know if my dad was like a preferred like Wells Fargo member or something, but they fully just approved me for like a couple $1,000s credit. And I had no credit history or anything. And at the time I was just like saving up my money. I didn't have a job. I was just focusing on school and just focusing on school. And I opened up this credit card and I'm like, holy crap, I have thousands of dollars now. That was my first thought, is I have thousands of dollars now. And when in reality, you don't at all. So I would go buy food and I would buy sushi, all you can eat, $24, I think. So $24 all you can eat sushi. I'm out with my friends. And that was great. Then the next day, I'll go get some Taco Bell. That was like $10. And then the next day, I need gas. So I put my gas on there. It's $60. And then, you want to go to sushi again? So, all right, all you can eat. We'll get sushi again. Dude, I have thousands of dollars. My savings and checking are fine. They're not moving. I'm just going to keep using my card. And I just keep using the card and keep using the card. And then eventually, at the end of the month, I'll look at it and it says 1,000 out of 1,000 has been used. And I see that and I'm like, oh, like shit. So, like now I owe $1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it says minimum payment $25. I'm like, so I can just pay $25. Cool. That's all I owe. So I would pay $25, and then if I needed to spend stuff, I would either pay that credit card down again and then use it again, and then it would just be so close to maxed out the whole time. And anytime I would need to buy something, I would because I wanted points, I would pay that card off a little bit and then buy the thing I wanted to buy. And then you just get into the cycle of you always are carrying a balance at this point because you ran it up in the beginning, and now it's like tough to bring it back down. And then they say, oh, don't worry about paying it all down. Just pay the $25 minimum. Mm-hmm. And what they don't show you is, hey, if you only pay this $25 down minimum, it's going to be, this is how much interest you're paying. It's not in your face. You don't see it in your face. Hey, you're paying 14% interest on this thing, 18% interest, 27% interest, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And they don't show you that. And that was my very, very first experience with these credit cards. I'm like, dude, easy money. I'm going to start buying stuff. And then I'm like, holy crap, I have like $1,500 that I owe. And then I would have to try to keep paying that down. But then life happens, and then you got to keep buying stuff. And then it keeps going up and down and up and down. And you're just carrying a balance, and it just sucks. And that is a very common experience for people with credit cards that aren't really educated in how to manage money. I got too much money too fast for me. And then I applied for other cards, and then I got my 2 other cards. I went to college. I got a couple student loans. So then, okay, even better. I have all this student loan that's paying for college. And then I have 2 other credit cards. One of them has a $10,000 limit, and the other one has a $15,000 limit. The one that had a $1,000 limit bumped me up to $9,000 limit. So, bro, I got like 20 G's. But then life happens. There are emergencies. There are things you got to pay for. Car breaks down. Things happen. You know what I mean? There's all of this stuff that happens around you where you're going to need to use that card. So then I start using those cards and using those cards, and my cash is staying the same. I still don't have a job. I'm focusing on school. But those cards are available. Again, this is just my experience, but I know there are thousands, if not millions of other people who went through what I went through, but 100x possibly.
Yeah.
Where I at least am fascinated by the stock market. I'm very financially literate. I had to learn all of those things through the experiences that I went through. So I graduated college with about probably like $40,000 worth of credit card debt, and then like 60,000 ish in like student loans. So fresh out of college, ready for work, 100 grand I got to pay to people. And you got to find a way to pay that. Okay, what, you're going to get a job? Okay, and then you're just going to pay minimum payments, and that's going to take like 25 years to pay off. That's never going to work. And your $10,000 that you owed, you're going to end up paying $25,000. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So saving, taking chunks down of the higher interest ones was the strategy to snowball down and eventually pay off those credits. But what's interesting is a lot of people won't pay that off, will just pay the minimums, but then like the interest just keeps battling the principal, and it just keeps going back, and you can't chunk away from it, and it just stays there. What is the best thing to do for somebody, for like 18-year-old me who racked up, let's say 40 grand? What would you do? What do you do?
If I was stuck with 40 grand in credit card debt?
Yeah.
Was your credit good or bad at the time?
I mean, it was fine, but your credit utilization is high.
Yeah, because this is what I would personally do if my credit was good. You can actually get business credit cards without having a business, and you can literally move that debt over from personal cards over to business cards. And the cool thing about a lot of these business cards is that there's 0% interest. Mm-hmm. So you can essentially move 20% interest debt over to 0% interest debt for 12 months, right? And that helps you a ton because you're not paying 20% interest a month on $10,000, $40,000, right? That helps you pay things down a lot quicker, and you're paying the principal because you're not paying any interest. Mm-hmm. So something that I would do would probably be is, if I had a good credit, open business cards that are 0% interest and move, or even personal cards. They don't have to be business. Just business doesn't report. Whenever your business credit cards, they don't report utilization. So if you max them out, it's not going to show up on your personal report. Mm. If you have $100K spent on your business credit card, it's not going to touch your personal report. It's not going to do anything to it. That's why I like business cards, just because it doesn't report that stuff. But you could do personal or business as long as it's 0% interest cards. I would just move that debt over.
Or at least lower, right? Like even if it's 5 or 9.
There's a few banks that give you 5. I feel like mainly credit unions. Credit unions give you like between maybe 5 to 11% versus what the big banks give you, which is like 23, 25, 26%. It's crazy. Yeah. That's what I would do though. I would most likely move that debt over to lower interest or 0% interest debt and just start paying at that. And after 12 months, if you couldn't pay it off in full, guess what? You can get another 0% interest card because your credit's still good, right? You're still making those payments. Your credit's still doing pretty well. Your utilization has gone down, which kind of helps boost your score. So you can get another 0% interest card and you just bought yourself another 12 months of 0%.
That's a genius. I should have talked
to you. A lot of people scale businesses doing. Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
I said I should have talked to you a couple of years ago.
How many years did it take you to finally get out of that? Like where you realize like, oh, I need to pay this stuff in full every month.
Well, I always knew you're supposed to. And I always knew I had to. But in college, focusing on school and not having a job and not having income streams coming in, but still racking up credit card debt and dealing with life and like keeping everything afloat, but on the foundation of money that you don't have. I always knew, because again, I'm educated in this space. I always knew you're not supposed to do that, but I had to. So it took a couple of years. Well, it's also because I was living at home too. So I eventually did get a job, And the first job that I got was paying like 50,000 a year. And then I eventually bumped that up to like 55,000 and then 60,000 a year. So that money's coming in. I'm investing some of that money. I'm very entrepreneurial at the core. So as I had that job, I would start other projects. Like I mentioned, that e-commerce thing. So now I have two income sources. And then I would play around with like stocks and crypto and whatnot. That again, I wouldn't consider that an income source, but it was. So I would make some profits there and start paying things that way. So I have all of these income sources coming in. I started my own marketing consulting company. I got a couple clients on retainer. I would do video production stuff. I would get like a client would pay like $5,000 for a video. It would cost me like $2,000 to make that video. The rest of the $3,000 I would put away into there. I had zero savings because my biggest focus was why would I put money in a bank and just have it sit there when I could just pay off all of this debt that just keeps going up anywhere from like I think 14% to I think my highest one was like 22. I'm like, geez, man, like I don't want to pay 22%. That's the exact opposite of the stock market. It's like you buy a stock and it goes down 22%. That's exactly what's happening with your credit cards. So I would do that. I would pay those off from all of the different income sources and eventually bring it down to a manageable place. Well, at first I was paying them all off at the same time. And then I'm like, wait a second, no, I got to focus on the one with the highest, what's it called? The APY.
Interest, yeah.
Yeah, interest. And once I got that down, I was actually, because I was really fixated on the credit utilization that would show on my credit report. On the, like I would use Mint, and Mint would show me, hey, your credit utilization's like 96% on like all of your cards. I'm like, geez. So I would want them under 30%. So I would pay the cards off until they were all under 30%, because that would then increase my credit score. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, wait a second. A credit score only matters when you're applying to get credit. Because otherwise no one's looking at your credit actively. It only matters when you're applying for a loan, when you're applying for cards, when you're applying for something. Right. So temporarily I was okay with my credit not being perfect, because that allowed me to keep the other cards at 90% credit utilization and just focus on the one that had a higher APY, mm-hmm. and pay that off, and then focus and just bring everything down to a manageable place. So that's my story with credit cards, and I'm sure thousands, millions of other people are dealing with stuff like that, and they don't have multiple income streams. They don't have the time for it. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the, I don't know, whatever it is. But I attribute my multiple income sources to my ability to pay things down.
Yeah, that helps a ton.
Yeah.
That helps a ton. You know, it's good that you actually, it's kind of like, yeah, why have your money sitting there? Just pay down something that's costing me money every month. Mm-hmm. 100%.
Definitely.
You know, a lot of people are in that situation, unfortunately. Some are just uneducated. They don't know. Some are just unable to pay. Part of me feels like some people, they kind of, I might have been guilty of this in the past. I try not to do that. I try not to lifestyle inflation, you know, mm-hmm. like where you start making more, you start spending more. I try to keep that to a minimum. I feel like when people get credit cards, they lifestyle inflate without even having an increase in income. They just see an increase in spending power. Yeah. So it's like, you know, part of those people, they put themselves in that situation. And like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but, you know, part of it is you knowing like, hey, I'm doing something wrong. I should kind of, you know, I should calm down. I should start paying this stuff off. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you're able to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. How do you feel TikTok influences either spending or balances out from pages like yours that focus on education? What do you think TikTok's impact on this niche is?
On the credit niche,
on spending, credit, lifestyle inflation, all these things.
I actually think what I like about TikTok is it's actually incentivizing young people to do something smart with their money. Sometimes smart, not always smart with these meme coins and stuff. But at least people are doing something with their money besides spending it. They're like actually trying to invest it in something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that TikTok is actually helping teach people about 401 not 401ks, Roth IRAs, how to use credit cards right, how to save properly, how to invest here and there. So I think TikTok is actually helping out a lot with getting people knowledgeable, because I get so many messages of people telling me, hey, I watched your video. I had no idea that the credit cards work like this. My parents would always tell me to never get a card, but the way you explain it just makes so much sense. So I like that TikTok and just other platforms in general, YouTube and whatever else is out there, people are seeing this content and they're understanding that there's a completely different side to it. Like you can take advantage of it.
Absolutely. I think something similar where I can rant for another hour about the education system and why is there no credit card 101 class? Why is there no how to taxes course that's required for me to get a degree? You could be the world's most educated PhD from Harvard and have no idea how taxes and credit cards and investing work because it's not required for you to take those classes. But when you graduate, every single person interacts with those things at some point in their lives. Everyone's going to get a job. Everyone's going to make money. And everyone's going to spend money. Why aren't they teaching that in school? I don't know. But when I see TikTok, I see exactly what you see, where at least the conversation is happening. At least you are making videos about credit cards. You show your stack of cards. Awesome. Now I'm intrigued. How the hell did he get so many cards? I'm going to invite him to my podcast. Let's talk about it. And it creates a conversation at least. Now, we both always talk about how there's always that like toxic stock talk too. But even that at least gets people thinking about, oh my God, if I put $1,000 into SafeMoon, I would have been the next Elon Musk. It's like, bro, first of all, no. Second of all, hey, at least you're thinking. At least you're having this conversation on what can I do with my money? What can I do with my credit cards? And there are a ton of creators, and that's actually why I made this podcast, is to pull those creators together like yourself and Austin and all of the people who I think are genuine and provide some sort of value. I want to make that like one-stop shop for the safe space for financial education, whether it's stocks, credit cards, investing, saving, 401ks, even alternative assets like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like whatever it is. At least think and have that conversation, because in my opinion, school did not do that for me. I don't know if it did for you. No? Yeah.
Not at all. No.
It's all self-taught. It's all up to you to figure it out. And that's why go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, for me, it was like the only time I started learning about that stuff was at the library in school. I was teaching myself, watching YouTube about how to do all this stuff. I never learned about it in class, or high school, nowhere. The only class I actually did learn something was in high school. I had an economics teacher who actually taught us a little bit about credit cards, I believe. But that's about it. There was just one
economics teacher.
Yeah, I even told my mom about her once. I told my mom I hate school. I hate teachers. I didn't think teachers teach well. But I was like, this one teacher actually taught me some good stuff.
Yeah.
You remember the good ones.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember through my elementary school, I had like two good teachers. The rest of them thought I was crazy, because I was always that little trouble kid who would cause too much commotion. But it just goes back, like I wouldn't pay attention in elementary school. and they would call my parents and say, hey, we think your kid needs to be on like this list of medication because he can't focus on what I'm teaching. And my dad actually has a degree in psychology, and he, on the phone, he says, well, what are you trying to teach him? And the lady's like, well, we're trying to learn about like this history. We're trying to learn this. We're trying to learn that. My dad's like, well, no wonder he doesn't want to pay attention. That sounds extremely boring. And I think that's part of the problem now today too, where a lot of kids, why would I want to pay attention to a really boring subject that I am not interested in at all, when I can open up my iPhone and start scrolling through what I'm interested in now? And that's the whole mindset of the YouTube Academy and the TikTok University, is these platforms are allowing me to get pigeonholed into my niches and explore further the things that I'm passionate about. And I think that's just really important. And I think we're both on the same page.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100% agree. I think that I've actually learned a lot of things through TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've actually bought some courses here and there from things that I didn't even know. I used to think TikTok was a joke. I downloaded it. I'm like, I'm not gonna post TikTok. I'm gonna look silly. And then one video went viral, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I like this feeling. Dopamine. I did. I'm not gonna lie, I did. And then I just there's a lot of good content creators out there. I think TikTok is super underrated. I think a lot of people are still stuck on Instagram, that fake lifestyle that. Well, TikTok has a little bit of that too, but I feel like TikTok is more realistic. People show a little bit more of their real selves. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that social media is bringing people into this kind of stuff and teaching them, like with credit, right? It's a boring topic, so I have to try and make it as interesting as possible. And when people see like, oh, this dude got first class flights for free with credit cards, how do you do that? Or when people see all these cards and like, this kid has a bunch of cards, he's probably in a bunch. I get that comment a lot. You must be in credit card debt. Like, no, I'm not.
No. I did it the smart way. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, it gets people thinking though.
And that's the only thing that matters. Speaking of thinking, do you have any questions or anything for me? I'm an open book.
No. Just the face reveal thing, which I asked you about earlier. I was just curious. Is he doing like face reveal at $1 million? At $1 million, at 1 million followers? Just because I was curious.
I'll do a face reveal for $1 million. No, I've talked about it in the past where a lot of people comment and they say, hey, why don't you show your face? And especially when I film a video like this where half my face is cut off, it really accentuates that. It's like, why doesn't he show his face? I'd rather people focus on the content. A lot of my videos are just like, I'm just filming like chest down. You see my logo. I got my merch. It's a good advertisement. And then I flip the camera and I'm focusing on what I want to talk about. I'm focusing on the charts. I'm focusing on visual material that drive home the message. And instead of looking at my beautiful face, you're looking at educational content that is more likely to stick. And that's the whole reason why I made my TikTok, is to create educational videos, is to create fun fact videos, create some sort of entertainment around this niche that we're in, and get people talking, get people thinking. And a part of getting people talking is a part of that curiosity of, where's that guy's face? So that increases engagement, that increases that like mysterious effect of, who is this guy? What's his background and stuff? And with this podcast, I can share bits and pieces of my life and different stories, experiences, my history, and all those things. I'm an open book, but you'll just never know who I am.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and that's why I don't show my face.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, you're right about that. People, controversy and people questioning things, that tends to spark up the comment section and get the videos doing well. I like those type of videos.
Yeah. Oh, I had a video. It said like verified people can only comment. Did you see that video?
I saw that. Yeah.
Dude, that was so funny.
That video did pretty well, right? Yeah,
2.4 million views, I think, and like 37,000 comments. Where I just hit up a bunch of people who had who are verified, and I said, "Yo, I'm doing this trend. Can you comment on this?" And I had a filter on, and I would accept their comments, and then I would ignore everyone else's comments. And like when you see a video like that, you're like, does that really work? And you go to the comments and you see like 5 verified accounts commented on it, and you don't see anything else. You're like, wait a second. And then you comment, and then that comment is hidden, but to the TikTok algorithm, somebody still commented. So it just really grows a lot, and people just get really frustrated and they don't believe you. And they're like, wait, does that work? Does it work? And then it just blew up from there. So that was a fun experiment. I might do another one of those.
Yeah, and I like to play around with content that's a little. I've actually had videos removed that were a little too. They weren't even bad. I guess TikTok just considered them bad. Credit card related videos too that have gotten taken down. Nothing bad. I mean, I guess it seems a little too good to be true at on the video, but not like I've had videos taken down that were, I guess you could say, controversial.
I don't think I've ever had a video get taken down. I've said some pretty crazy things.
Oh, I thought you cut off for a second there.
Oh, no.
Oh, what did you say?
Oh, I said I don't think I've ever had a video get taken down.
Really?
Yeah, I got a video that said like I got some sort of warning on it. But other than that, no. That's really interesting. I wonder what you said in the video that triggered the algorithm into thinking that.
I think the word hack, or loophole, maybe those words triggered it, because it was like how to get an Apple Card without an inquiry, which is actually something you can actually do. And I guess I've said there's a hack or something. Maybe I think it might have been the word hack. That probably
maybe
was
hack
triggered
Apple.
It.
Those words.
Hack Apple, probably. Yeah. Because I mean, I did. I put a dispute for the video, and they still left it down. So TikTok's
I wouldn't
TikTok.
dispute anything. I would just let it go and move on. I've seen a lot of people get into more trouble after they dispute stuff. It just brings more attention to their thing. But very interesting. All right, man. If you have any other questions for me, now is the time. Otherwise, I think we had a solid talk about what some people might find very
Man, I had
valuable
like 2 questions in mind, and they completely left my mind. Do you have any questions for me?
We can start this podcast all over again, and I can ask you about everything you know about credit cards. But no, you did a really good job of explaining everything that I've always been really curious about with credit cards. I now have a ton of homework to do, so I'm gonna go research a lot about credit cards. I'm sure I'm gonna hit you up, and I'm sure I'm gonna have a ton of questions. But
yeah, that's not a problem, man. A lot of people have. There's a lot of things in the credit game that are a little bit confusing sometimes, but once you get into it, it's kind of addicting, to be honest. Like, I haven't paid for a flight, a hotel, or a car rental in like the past. Well, when did I get into this deeply? 2018, probably. So yeah, I literally don't pay for any of that stuff. It's all free. I just use my points.
That's so sick. Yeah, I need to do that.
If you travel, you trust me, you'll like that.
Yeah,
it's addicting. Absolutely. It's like free stuff, free everything. Why pay for something that could be free from spend that you were already going to do anyways?
Exactly. That's why I'm looking at my credit cards. I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. Get him on the show. I need to figure out how to credit card. And I think we did a great job covering a lot of topics. I'll definitely let you know if I have any questions or anything. And if you remember those questions you were going to ask, just let me know later.
I'll let you know. It was stock talk related. It was stock talk related. Probably had to do with like a bunch of these meme. I think it had to do with I was actually trading AMC this morning. I took a pretty
AMC was crazy
little loss. This thing went to $29. I'm just blown. Actually, that's my question. What do you think about these stocks? Like, I'm the type of person that I think that a lot of people right now are being rewarded for bad behavior, buying these kind of stocks, and they think it's a good investment. They think they're doing something to the hedge funds. Like, I get it. You're trying to prove a point here, but come on, hedge funds are going to win at the end of the day, or not even just whoever's on top, like the big dogs with the big money, they're always going to win. So I don't get what people are. I don't know what's their whole point with the whole movement. We're fighting against them. We're gonna beat them. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't get it.
So
I don't like that stuff.
I do not expose myself to Wall Street bets. I don't go on the forums. I don't read the posts anymore. I used to a long time ago. And I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. I don't know why they decide to go after companies that short other companies. Short squeezes have always been a thing. 5 years ago, I've seen it happening. 10 years ago, I've seen it happening. They've always been a thing. Now they are hyper focused on. That's what brought GME to ridiculous prices and then right back down and then back to the middle as it is right now. People sell calls, people short companies all the time. That's completely normal. And I don't really care, or I don't really know why other people care. Whatever the reason is, though, back to your really good point of people are getting rewarded for bad behavior. That is really, really important because people are making 1,000% up to 40,000% on very bad decisions. When COVID first happened, there were a couple of trades that I made way too much money way too fast. And I'm like, whoa, I just went up like 10,000%. And if you don't know how to handle that money, it's going right back down.
100%.
So if people are making like that Dogecoin millionaire guy, I don't know if you've seen him.
He hasn't sold yet, right?
No, he hasn't sold.
I don't understand that.
Wild. He has $2 million into Dogecoin. I don't remember what he started off with. Whatever he did, that's a lot. So he has $2 million in Doge. At that point, you got to look at that money and say, I can buy real estate. I can buy companies that I know aren't going anywhere. I can have $100,000 savings. I can travel the world. I can buy another property, rental property. I could buy another rental property. like you can literally, you can do a lot, right?
Yeah.
But bad decisions, you keep that money in Doge. And I believe he's around like $800,000 or $900,000 now from that 2 million. So he just wiped $1.1 million for making a bad decision. So with that point, he bumped up to 2 million. He got rewarded for a bad decision. Sure, because investing in Dogecoin doesn't make sense. It's an inflationary asset that has it's garbage. So, but it went up. You can't argue that a lot of people made a lot of money. But it's what you do with that money that separates you from being an investor or being somebody who just got lucky. Lucky
Right.
is when opportunity meets preparation. You were prepared, you had money in there, and an opportunity came, boom. That's luck. That's the definition of luck. So they got lucky, you made a lot of money. Now, what are you going to do with that money? AMC right now going crazy. It was up like 36% today. GME going crazy. They've always talked about it. Short squeezes, forcing hedge funds to cover their calls, making the price go higher. People are pouring in. I read a post. This lady has like all of her savings in GME. I'm like, oh my God, you're hurting. Like this I don't want anyone to get hurt. It's always fun to play with this money. I bought GME and I sold GME. I bought like a couple shares. I made a couple $100. I did some options flips on it. You ride the waves. If it went to zero, I would laugh. I would not cry. And that's the difference. It's you have to play smart if you're going to mess around with these stocks. So I don't know how it's all going to end up, but those who are actually smart with money will end up winning in the end, for sure.
And even the ones who are not, I feel like even the ones who do end up pulling money out, I feel like at some point the market's going to take that money back. Because if you just keep on being reckless, like you're going to get into the next Doge or the next AMC, the next GME, but that next time it's not going to work. So
And
the market always has a
my
way
point.
the market always has a way of getting its money back if you're not smart with keeping it. There's a saying out there, I think it says you only need to get rich once in the stock market, like literally. And some people they're getting rich, but they're not cashing out on that.
Yep.
They're holding, and
we'll
see what happens.
You need to get rich twice.
Yeah, exactly.
The first time you get rich, you're going to get taxed into oblivion. The second time you get rich, you know how to avoid those taxes and figure out a best way to diversify your portfolio. So you only got to get rich twice.
Yeah. No, I like what you're doing with your channel though, actually promoting. I actually stopped posting on Stock Talk because it's just so toxic. I was posting one video about GameStop, like the actual, like what's actually going on in the game, in literally the comment section. This is back in February. The comment section is like Dogecoin, AMC to the moon, GME to the moon. And I'm like, no one's really paying attention to what I'm actually trying to say here.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Nobody cares. And I was like, you know what? I'll focus more on like credit stuff. There's nothing crazy going on in the credit world. But I kind of want to get back into posting about Stock Talk, maybe like a little bit more on the serious side. Yeah, I probably won't get that many views, but the people who are actually interested in learning the real stuff will stick around and watch. And I might get back into that.
Yeah, just sprinkle it in. You have a good diversity of material on your page. I first started off making fun fact videos. And I made fun fact videos about like, did you know the average lifespan of $1? And like all my videos started off like that. It's like, did you know? And it got super cringy after a while. I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear myself saying, did you know, every like 2 seconds. But then I started to like ease into stocks, and then I became like the good guy where I was talking about like how to grow your stock market portfolio. You need to dollar cost average over a period of time. And like, just like super basic standard videos. And to your point, doesn't get a lot of views. Now, if you make it a little bit controversial and you make a video about, hey, Dogecoin sucks, your comment section blows up. You don't know what you're talking about, Grandpa. It's like it just blows up. And go after this, go look at my TikTok, go look at the comments of my older videos where I'm making fun of GameStop, making fun of Dogecoin, and using that hype and that opportunity to say, hey, this sucks. This is what you should do instead. You know what I mean? Like you pull them in with a controversial piece, then you educate in whatever way you want. And you got to find that balance because it'll A, increase views, B, educate those people who come in, or 90% of those people just will not care and they'll just say what they say and you just say whatever and you just post the next video and you just keep going because eventually somebody's going to learn something, and in 10 years from now they're going to call us and say, hey dude, that TikTok you made 10 years ago changed my life. 100%. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I've thought about, I'm just like, you know what, screw the haters, screw the people that don't want to learn. The ones that will learn, they'll come around, they'll stick around, and they'll be there.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, glad you're one of the real people on Stock Talk. It's super annoying and toxic. That's why I've stopped posting for a while now. Just so much noise in there right now. But I need to get back into posting myself.
Do it on your own time. Whenever you have time, whenever you feel comfortable, you just post. And that's the mindset that I've always had. Is I went on vacation last week. I went to Tulum, and I'm like, I'm not going to post any TikToks. Like, that's what I thought. But then I had like 10 minutes and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to post a video. And like, I posted some vacation content and like tried to keep it like stock related in a way. But you find it on your own time. I never force it. I don't have a schedule. I don't try to make sure I get like 10 videos up and this and that. I just post genuine content that I love over time. And some people like it, some people don't. And that's whatever.
I have a question. It's completely sidetracked. Well, it kind of has to do with content.
Sure.
I noticed that you put your TikToks on shorts, on YouTube Shorts.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing that, right?
I not all of them. I tested out what it would be like to do that a couple times. So I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel, and I noticed a couple good like controversial videos. Like I had a couple like Nancy Pelosi bought this videos, and people loved it on TikTok. And I'm like, I'm curious how that'll work on YouTube. And YouTube Shorts is newer. They also have this thing where they're paying content creators. I think like kind of like what Snapchat is doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what their numbers are. But I don't know. I was just testing it, see what it's like. It
I
got
was just
some
curious
good.
how that was going.
I just got some good views. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, yeah. I have a YouTube channel. I post there like once every 3 months or so.
Sure. Um, Test out some of your TikToks. Download them without the watermark, and then upload them. Hashtag short in the description, the first thing, and then it'll automatically go into shorts. And see how it goes. It's worth a try. Doesn't hurt anybody.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I don't know, content creation is something that I was completely not too much into a few years ago, but I've slowly like there's a lot of potential in it. There's a lot of potential in content creation nowadays, especially talking
Absolutely.
about things that you enjoy. Like I
Exactly.
enjoy the videos that I make. I don't if I don't
Yeah.
enjoy the topic, I'm not gonna make it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was gonna say, but you said it first. Content creation is easy to do and it's fun to do if you really love it. If you love the thing that you're creating, the topics that you're talking about. It's easy for me to turn on a camera and just talk about the stuff that we just talked about right here. We didn't plan all of this. I just said, hey, what
Yeah,
time are you available? What are some things you want to talk about? And then we just go and we just have a conversation because we're both passionate about what we're talking about. And it's easy. It's easy for us to talk about this stuff. And people like to hear that. And this conversation is smooth. It's just two dudes talking about things that they're passionate about. And people like that. So that's what content creation is. We're just sharing with the world things that we're interested in.
yeah. Are you a full time content creator, or is that something you
No.
just got into recently?
Something on the side, and it grew faster than I expected, and um, it's just now a part of my like daily schedule, essentially my daily routine, where I technically have a 9 to 5. I'm a business development consultant. I have a marketing consulting company on the side. I have I don't even know. I have I do a lot. I
Mhm.
do a lot of things, and content creation now is just one of the things that I do, and it's always been fun. It's always been something I've been interested in. I started with TikTok. It grew. I never had any good growth on Instagram or anything that I tried there,
Yeah.
um, but TikTok blew up. Had a lot of fun with that. Now I'm working on this YouTube and TikTok at the same time, and I sell merch that does well.
Does that
Um,
really? Because I have some ideas in my mind.
uh
Like
huh.
I wear a cap a lot of the time in my
Yeah.
videos because I don't like to do my hair for a video,
Yeah.
or like a dark hoodie.
Yep.
And sometimes I'm like, I have some cool ideas of some stuff, but it's like, would anybody even buy it? Like, I'm not a big salesy person. I don't like to promote
Hmm.
things. I don't know. I'm just not, I'm not a big promotion type of guy. I've never even had a paid post on any of my TikToks actually.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm like, that actually does well. Like merch, selling merch.
Yep. And I had
Really?
no idea. So I designed this logo, and it became the logo for my brand. And I always thought this industry's merchandise is so lame. It's like either super memey or like it's just I can't wear that out in public if I'm like meeting somebody like who I care about. Like it's a cool like I'll wear like a meme shirt to go to the grocery store, but like if I'm hanging out with my friends, like I would wear this. Like it's
Yeah.
just a plain black hoodie with an arrow on it. And when I was designing the merch, I have hats, I have shirts, I have sweatpants, and hoodies. I'm like, that's just the essentials. Um, I have shirts that say stonks on them. I have shirts that say like bearish, bullish. I have a bearish and bullish hat. I have this arrow on hats and shirts and hoodies. I have the sweatpants with the logo and everything like embroidered and whatnot. And I thought to myself, I'm like, nobody's gonna buy this because that's my logo and I designed that. Nobody wants that. And my wife was like, no, it's actually really nice. Like, you should post that. And I'm like, sure. So I post it. It's live on my website, which actually leads to another funny story. That's how this whole thing started. I Google searched wallstreetstonks.com and it was available.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, what? So I bought that domain and then I built the brand on top of all of that. And that's how this all started. But I first started with the merch. And I'm like, I want to make sexy finance gear. I want people to look good and trade better. And so I created just a bunch of designs and people like it. And the arrow ones are actually the most selling ones. And
Really?
I never would have expected that.
It's crazy because I've always thought like, I've always wanted to make one just for myself. And if people like it, then I'll, make it for them. But I'm like, who would buy like I have some little cool logos here and there that I had in mind, but I didn't know people actually would, and you don't even promote it. You just wear it all the time.
No, I just
That's kind of like self-promotion, but you don't even like say, go buy my merch and link in the bio. No, it's pretty interesting.
It's just there. I like it for myself. I made it for myself. I wanted cool stock gear. It sparks conversation. I know whenever I go out and like somebody knows, like you're like, that kind of looks like a stock thing. Like, who is that? What is that? But like, just make it for yourself, wear it, you'll enjoy it, and hey, maybe one person will see it video and then they'll buy it. Oh, it just takes one person and then their friends see it and go like, oh, where'd you get that? And then it just grows and grows and grows.
Yeah, because a few months ago, you mentioned Stonks. What is it? Low-key Stonks. That's what you got? That's the domain you bought?
WallStreetStonks.com.
Oh, Wall Street Stonks.
Yeah.
Why do I keep low-key? That's someone else. I was actually looking at one called Stonks Caps or Cap Stonks. I was gonna make hats with like tickers, but I was like, nah, it's pretty lame. And I throw away the idea completely, but I might consider it.
No, 100% do it. You can even mess around with some Facebook ads and whatnot, or even just wear it in your videos, or make a whole brand new TikTok about that merch and test that out. See if you can grow that page. Pay social media influencers to wear that hat. Give them $100. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many different ways to grow it, and it's worth a try. Like I have a hat that says that has the Tesla ticker on it. A couple of people bought that. It just says TSLA.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. People like that kind of stuff.
It's super easy, and it is a saturated market. There are tons of websites that sell this stuff, but you just do you and see what happens.
I might try that out. Just put it on, put the site up, and just let it run from there.
I look forward to seeing it, and I look forward to buying one for myself. I'll be your first customer.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
Awesome, man. That's all I got. Are you good?
I'm good. That's everything for me. I'm glad we're on the same page with these meme stocks and everything else.
Dude,
if you ever have credit stuff, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely have a ton of questions for you, and I really appreciate you taking an hour and 30 minutes out of your life to talk to me, some random dude that you met on the internet, about the things that you're passionate about. And I hope that all the people that are watching this video get to learn at least one thing, because that means we just did one good thing today. 100%. So in return to that, can you tell people to like the video? Because I've noticed you just have to remind them, and they never like the video. So I need, maybe if you tell them to like the video, they would. I don't know.
If you guys don't like this video, you're gonna have bad credit for the just like the video, guys.
that if you don't like this video, you're gonna have bad credit for the rest of your life. And
pretty much
is a wrap.